the United's guaranteed if they win this 2-0, because that would put them at 13, tied with Space Station, and they'd have the head-to-head record.
Yes, they do.
So no matter what, eUnited is in if they win this second game. Luminosity sitting at 11 right now. They could knock Space Station out if they find a 2-0. So Space Station has their DreamHack lives on the balance here as well.
Yeah, right now eUnited are, right now as is. If eUnited lose game number 2, they're kind of just hoping.
They're out.
They're hoping. No, they're hoping. They have the head-to-head versus Luminosity.
Right, that's true.
eUnited beat LG earlier in the season. So basically what happens is the top 3 will go to DreamHack. And then if there is a tie, we look at the head-to-head. How do these teams go against each other? eUnited actually beat LG earlier on in the season. So should they find that split, as long as LG doesn't do it, then they wind up all good. But they're really looking for the safety, the guarantee.
Yes.
Ask anybody that's ever been in competition. You never want to sit there going, gee, I hope they lose. Shouts to Rival from yesterday.
And shouts to Luminosity from last year going to Worlds. You know, they were hoping that Orbit was going to pull it out for them against a very similar roster here. I mean, it was Vedium playing Hunter there for that team. So, you know, they've been in that position before.
Jig's going the Fafnir this time around for Space Station Gaming. Very, very different approach from the Geb.
I like this. I like this a lot. I mean, the Geb was picked so early on for Space Station, and eUnited was able to draft around it accordingly. This Fafnir first pick doesn't lock you into a particular playstyle, very flexible, and just outright very strong.
Camazotz will be the jungle of choice for Verizial, unless we see something weird out of Benji, but this speaks to more of a Verizial god. Thoth will be repeated by Chaos, for good reason.
I like it, and I like that eUnited doesn't just go for Bellona or Osiris, because clearly they're not that worried about those gods if Final K gets a hold of them. Benji can play the Wukong, he could have played that Amaterasu, he can do it all, so not locking themselves into those meta picks right now, going for their strong individual gods instead. I
like the Ra selection for Andenster. Again, I push this thought process every single time we see Space Station lock in the Ra. This doesn't necessarily dictate a healing composition or a sustained composition. Andy plays Ra like people play Thoth. He's just looking for long-range damage, and sure, he'll heal up in between battles, but it's not about the heal. If Ra had a different third ability, you'd still see Andy bring this character out. Paired up with Fafnir and Bellona this time around for Space Station, eUnited finished their first half with a Geb.
This is good drafts from both teams as far as I'm concerned. I'm interested to see what solo laners Space Station is going to ban. Or are they just going to let Benji have whatever he wants and instead look to ban out Panda Cat? Osiris needed to be banned. Not only because it's Benji, but because that anti-heal would have been far too strong against the Ra. I feel like that was the correct ban. Now Space Station could ban Hu Yi. I swear I was going to say that. I swear I was just a little slow.
I believe you.
Yeah.
That you're a little slow. eUnited do have the first pick, and they're going to go Sun Wukong. Space Station has 2 more selections. So eUnited, Sun Wukong, just not too concerned about the Bellona. Just watch out. I'll just do Sun Wukong things, and that's that.
Karnanos the pick here for Space Station's Hunter Vedium, and the Thor for Homie FA. This is Space Station saying, we're just going back to what we like to do. Man, we know we're sick of playing what the meta wants us to play. We're playing our stuff, and it ends up working out that these gods work very well together at the same time. We saw Adapting put his foot down, pull out the Thor, and say, I'm done. Now it's going to be Homie FA starting to try to do so, but eUnited's got some comfort picks as well. Panda Cat going back to his Scotty.
You got the Scotty, you got the Thoth, you got the Sun Wukong. I do have questions about Verizial's Camazotz being first picked, but the answer there is that he wants to take it away from Homie FA, who, that's a scary,
Homie Zotz.
I mean, Camazotz is played in the meta because Homie FA played him once upon a time. I think there are some other ripple effects, obviously, but absolutely, Homie FA was one of the first players to really bring him out. So you got to be careful about that one. Will the Thor be good enough is one question. And then Polar Bear Mike with the blink, will he go Sunder? Is the second question.
No, he hasn't, and I'm very angry with him about that still.
Well, he better this game.
No, he's gonna go like Shell or something. Maybe a Cursed Ankh. Cursed Ankh, one of those relics that got buffed recently that a little bit better than it used to be. Could be excellent at shutting down the healing coming out of Andenster and Vedium.
I like the play at a Final K. Final K rotates towards the mid lane and just sees. Is there anything I can do here? No, there's not. So he heads his back way over to the right side, chases Benji off of the neutral camp, actually, and then heads to lane. Meanwhile, his jungle is being stripped out by Space Station's jungle mid combination. The Thor Ra, ton of early game pressure. That's why we see this combination, and Homie FA and Andy are able to safely take away not just the speed buff, but also the blue.
Easy clear early on, no doubt about that. And it looks like Homie FA is going to meet up with Chaos and Verizial. Now they've got a choice to make. Do they want to go to their own speed, or do they want to try and contest those fire elementals? There's a wave being pushed into that mid tower as well. Looks like wave takes priority. Space Station going to give up these neutral fire elementals.
And also their own jungle for now. You're going to see eUnited opt for the mid harpies as well, and just sort of forego the early game buffs for now. Not too big of a deal here. Not losing too much gold as everything winds up being even. eUnited just not too concerned about it. Even with a red buff, Chaos is going to lose the early game to Andy, so that's not going to really fix anything. And the jungler Verizial, I mean, he's mad, but oh well.
But it's, I mean, speed buff is great in the early game, but doesn't dictate the entire outcome. I think that the early pressure that Thoth lacks is certainly worth giving up your speed buff in the early game. Now, the second respawn, Thoth can start to try and contest that, at least with his ultimate. So I'd like to see eUnited try and group up and make sure that he doesn't fall too far behind.
Homie, just going for the extra poke there with the long-range Mjolnir's attunement.
Just remember, this is what Thor does. Just like, hey, Benji, remember this.
Pop.
This does damage, and it's only getting worse from here because most Thors these days leveling that hammer, and rightfully so. It just is such excellent poke from a distance.
Homie FA looking for it. Only finds one tap on the Chaos. Doesn't have the stun available, or just opted to save it. Either way, still going to the jungle. And yeah, I mean, the hammer is it's a scary ability.
Got to be careful on the right side because Benji still has not hit level 5. I think Homie FA could have gone for a gank here, but Benji, instead realizing that he's not level 5 and is low, heads back to base, gonna buy his boots and teleport in full HP. Smart recognition from eUnited solo laner, not giving Homie FA the option to find a first blood on that solo side. Yeah,
now that Thor's level 5, everybody has to be careful across the lane. Just always be cautious about where that Thor is located, because a lot of time, and you have to ward differently as well, because Thor's going to take off from different points of the jungle, and when a Thor's in the game, it just alters your playstyle so much.
It just has that semi-global, man, so potent. Polar Bear Mike, I think, was considering blinking in and finding the Cataclysm on the 2 members there, but with Jigs lurking, even with Jigs not having that ultimate ability quite yet, there just wasn't going to be enough follow-up off of that blink Cataclysm. And there's plenty on this roster overall for eUnited. Not only that from Chaos, but Verizial from a distance going to be able to put some significant damage out off of that blink engagement from Polar Bear Mike. Panda Cat as well. So watch for these members of Space Station to blow up whenever Polar Bear Mike goes in.
Yeah, PBM going to roll out here. Jigs and Homie FA and Andy are looking for the speed, their own speed buff. Here comes Final K around the corner, looking for the invade, but it's a little bit too late. Brazil's able to take care of that, no problem. PBM gets stunned out and poked, but not too big of a concern here. The blue buff is a different story, however. Speed buff did go the way of Brazil, and he's going to be able to get the blue as well.
So like I mentioned, first one, you can give that up, no problem. Second one, that's where you want to be on time for it, and eUnited are there and ready to go. Good timing by eUnited, because they don't give anything up on the left-hand side except oracles, and that's not that big of a deal right now.
Nah, no first blood still available, so that 500 gold bounty in the mind of everybody, they don't really want to give that up, as everything is pretty even this early on. Andy is level 7 here in the mid lane. Comparatively speaking, the Chaos is 6, so has a little bit of a leg up on the competition.
Don't be surprised if you see eUnited really start to prioritize those oracles moving forward, though, because one of the reasons I think that we've seen a little bit less Thor as of late is you always had to be worried about, is the Gold Fury warded, because that's the most popular spot for Thor to ult from to dunk the duo lane. Now you don't need to be spending that gold. You only have to be on time to secure yourself some farm with those Oracle Harpies. So now if we see eUnited consistently make that Gold Fury pit glow red, it's going to be difficult for Homie FA to put any pressure onto Panda Cat, and that's somewhere where we could really see Homie FA make a big impact, because Scotty doesn't have a whole lot of mobility in that duo lane.
Yeah, I mean, if a Thor dunks a Scotty, she's probably dead.
Sounds like some sort of weird idiom, you know? It's like if you give a mouse a cookie, but if it's a Thor dunks a Scotty.
What happens if you give a mouse a cookie?
Well, then he's going to want a glass of milk.
Well, what's the big deal about giving him a glass of milk?
Because then he's going to want something else that I can't remember.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
He just always wants something else, man. He's a very selfish mouse.
Well, then why doesn't he ever wear boots?
Are you thinking of Ratatosker?
No, his name is Mousetasker, isn't it?
No. No, it isn't. It's Ratatosker.
I think you're wrong.
Everyone knows that.
I think you're wrong.
Okay. We're going there, are we? We're devolving to this point already.
I think we're already here.
Just instantly dismissing the facts. We're on that already? Okay. This is going to be fun.
Jigs? Ooh, Polar Bear Mike. This is actually very interesting to me. It's real. Takes a little bit of poke. Polar Bear Mike adopts the same strategy that him and his team destroyed last game.
That's true, but I think that Polar Bear Mike's going to say, I got to be looking for better engagements than Jigs was able to find last game. But Space Station just got the blueprint to beating this strategy. They just have to make sure they aren't particularly grouped up. And now is Homie FA looking for the dunk on this left-hand side. Panda Cat uses the purification beads, but it's not going to matter. First blood goes Space Station's way.
If a Thor dunks a Scotty, he's going to want a glass of milk because he already ate up the Scotty. Got him.
Well played. Polar Bear Mike finds a two-man Cataclysm, forces Vedium's beads, but he's likely to fall as well. Just as Jig sacrificed himself unnecessarily in the last game, Polar Bear Mike does in game number 2, and Space Station off to an early lead.
And because of that, they're going to spill over onto the red buff. Chaos tries to poke out, but won't be able to do so. The Gold Fury, excuse me. Now that's a stretch. That's because of the call here on the right side. Just what's the term? Not lucky.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate is exactly the term I'm looking for. But the teleport from Benji actually dissuades Space Station from the full commit.
We could do some sort of like game where you gotta give hints. I feel like we've got that synergy where you can say like half of a word and then I've got the other half. We can finish each other's
sandwiches.
Thank God you said sandwiches because I was thinking sandwiches. No troll. Shouts to Frozen. I was listening to that soundtrack the other day. It was good.
What?
Yeah, it's a good movie.
What does that have to do with anything?
That's a song lyric in one of the Frozen songs.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that.
Wow, that means our synergy's even better than I thought. I thought that's what you were referencing.
No, I didn't even know that.
Wow, we're nuts.
Oh my goodness. Imagine if this is usually where I excel and I bring it back to the game with a nice segue.
Imagine if Polar Bear Mike's Blink Cataclysms would be that nuts.
Well, I was going to say, my segue was going to be, imagine if X players had that synergy, but that's actually the nice thing about this matchup is we don't have that issue. Space Station and eUnited all play very well together. I think that's what makes these two teams so successful.
I agree with you. And again, Homie FA spending time on this left-hand side. Panda Cat gets dunked again. Homie FA had some trouble this time around. Already used that hammer. Body block's good from Verizial, and he is going to be able to clean that up and put eUnited on the board. But keeping Panda Cat down is always a good idea when facing off against this squad.
If a Thor dunks a Scotty, he's going to want a glass of milk. That's 2 glasses of milk so far for a Thor player, but the biggest difference between that exchange and the last one was that last time around, Verizial was on the other side of the map. This time around, Verizial's jumping on top of Vedium.
What a play by Verizial. He uses the disjoint from the Devourer to get up and over the Wild Hunt. Perfectly timed. That is not a lot of time to do that. Yes, it looks pretty routine and it really should be for these pro players, but we see them miss this kind of stuff all the time. Good play there out of Verizial. And now all that pressure that Homie FA earned for Vedium on that side, basically irrelevant because now Vedium's got to worry about getting back into this game as Panda Cat is sitting pretty close to him in farm right now.
Benji over here kind of outsmarted Final K over there by the Gremlins, and then the decoy fights Final K pretty well.
But Benji now has his ultimate on cooldown. Final K does not. Eagle's rally could result in a kill for Benji, or against Benji rather, especially if Homie FA decides to transition this over to the right side.
Still, something to think about. Chaos here in the mid lane. Going to be poking Jigs just a little bit. Homie FA curious about the buff here on the left side, but he sees Panda Cat walk away with the red buff, and so he will. I thought he won't go so aggressive, but he does. Pushes forward and instead slinks backwards as the call is made that Verizial and Chaos are exiting that middle lane.
And Verizial's actually maintained a level lead over Homie FA, even with the 2 kills and assist going Space Station's jungler's way. Just the 2 kills have been enough for Verizial, and despite losing that first rotation of buffs as well, it really shows that Verizial's done a pretty good job of staying relevant in this game. Now that kill on Vedium worth quite a bit. The first blood gold helps out Homie Efe, but there's no extra experience there, whereas Vedium being ahead means that kill for Virizio is worth a little bit more, but it's a pretty solid game so far on this Camazotz.
Also, the Camazotz being ahead right now, you want to control this Thor. Thor runs games. I mean, he rotates, kills, rotates, kills, rotates, kills. If he gets put down behind, if he gets put down, and then you see all of a sudden Virizio start being the one that sets the pace of the game, that phrase that we use so often, I mean, Thor has to play follow-up man instead of just ganking the Scotty over and over again asking for milk.
Interesting build here from Polar Bear Mike. Last game, he went Gauntlet of Thebes. This game, Jade Emperor's Crown. So this is a physical protection item. It also gives him a little bit of magical power, but it reduces the physical power of all enemies around him. So Homie Efe, Fine OK, and Vedium can be hitting a little bit less hard. And this is perfect for Geb because he's either going to be peeling on the backside whenever Thor dunks in, reducing his power, or blinking in and initiating with that Cataclysm and retracting the power there as well.
Yeah, that's the key. We're going to see a lot of that blink initiation coming out from Geb. As we said last time around, eUnited, very different strategy. Barely had any initiation at all, instead depending on the opponent to go ahead and blink in and then collapse on that target. Now we see eUnited kind of taking a page out of Jigs' book and looking for those blink engagements, and that's why we see the itemization shift. Either way, we're going to see a much more action-oriented game this time around. Space Station support building into that Urchin number 2. That's Jigs saying we expect a lot of fights. In fact, we're going to cause a lot of fights. Jigs and Homie Efe starting up on Polar Bear Mike right about now.
A lot of cooldowns, but not a lot of poke onto eUnited's support player, so Space Station immediately retreats. Keep in mind that Space Station has sustain, eUnited doesn't. I mean, Virizio has some self-sustain with that Camazotz passive, but Annans are going to be able to heal up the entirety of Space Station. It's going to be a little bit before some anti-heal comes online. Don't be surprised if you see a Pestilence for Polar Bear Mike and or Benji. Virizio probably going to be building into an early Brawler's Beatstick here as well.
Yeah, we don't even see the lifesteal build come out of Panda Cat like we did last time. Now it's just a straight power by way of the Transcendence, so...
And I like what FidoK has done in response to this, knowing that Panda Cat does not build lifesteal on Scotty as often. He goes for that weird Midgardian male build that somehow works for him. But not building lifesteal means that Nemean Lion is going to be that much more effective than it would have been against that Hu Yi.
Here's a dash from Benji. The stun is strong. Homie Efe gets his actives chased out. Going to take to the sky. Benji can't take out the Thor before he launches. We're going to see him, Homie, decide to just play it safe. A lot of communication. That moment right there where everything hangs for the moment, everybody's yelling in comms.
Yep. Everyone's saying go in or don't go in. You know, it's a lot of back and forth as the Oracles get split one apiece. I really think Virizio didn't realize how much damage that that Benji was going to do to Homie Efe and himself as well. I feel like he could have actually found that kill there with the Bat Out of Hell as the Homie Efe was charging that ultimate. But either way, you get both relics and an ultimate out of Homie Efe in response to a blink from Virizio. I mean, that's a huge win for eUnited.
Because of that one, they're going to be able to stay here and contest. 14 minutes on the clock here. 5 kills, 3 of them are Space Stations. Everything all tied up here. Space Station with a very slight lead, but nothing to really talk about. Everybody just trying to make their way up the ladder. Level 12 is about to be hit by our supports, and definitely want to keep an eye on those secondary relics. Shell being picked up by Jigs at first. He'll head back to base, and we'll see where he goes.
Could be a Frenzy. That's been a pretty popular relic for both of these teams. Frenzy also works very well with the Fafnir because you're getting even more power off of that Coerce buff, but instead, the Sprint. And I think this is a solid pickup. Plenty of slows on the side of eUnited, and Sprint's just an undervalued relic in my mind. Upgraded Sprint, giving everyone on your team the Fatalis effect is incredibly potent.
Benji here, gonna deal with Fine OK. But yeah, I mean, having that Fatalis effect on Vedium is gonna be nice. I guess Fine OK as well. Is it more for the offensive boost than the defensive?
It's both. That's what makes Sprint so good, is it's incredibly versatile. You could use it to disengage, you could use it to engage, you know, chase down kills. You can really do so much with it. Cleanse the slows, though then you still can be slowed afterwards. That's the change new to Season 4, whereas Sprint used to make you completely immune. Nice
double stun, going to result in the Quadra tap. You like that?
I don't mind it.
It's like a double tap?
Yeah, I got that.
Doubling down?
Yeah, I got that.
Like a split? If you're playing blackjack, you can split?
Just because you split doesn't mean you double down.
No, but it's another card phrase.
Yeah, but they're two completely different things.
Well, I mean, you're splitting the two different targets apart, and then
Yeah.
you're doubling down.
Are you doubling down? Depends what the dealer's showing. You're not making a whole lot of money playing blackjack these days, are you?
I'm making a whole lot of money elsewhere.
Fair enough.
In the middle lane, like Andy, playing Anubis.
He's playing raw. What are you talking about right now?
That's Anubis.
Oh, what? This is raw. Anubis doesn't have a giant solar beam, man.
Yes, he does. Have you ever played Anubis?
Yeah,
A giant beam is all Anubis is
Not
about.
a solar beam that comes from the sun.
You don't know where it comes from.
It comes from his eyes. He's a lighthouse.
It comes from his mouth. He's a dog.
It comes from his eyes.
Wait, I'm gonna have to inspect this. You're talking about
Really?
Ra?
You're. Where did you man go? Anyone else? Literally anybody, please.
Oracle's gonna take down by Space Station. Keeping the vision on that left side.
Did you really think Anubis ult came from his mouth?
It doesn't?
GG, dude.
This is how I reenact. So I reenact the Anubis ult all the time, just like this.
Wow, that really translated to all the people at home who couldn't see what you did at all.
That's fair. Maybe I'll take a picture later.
Please do.
You should take a picture right now, actually.
It should be
live while casting.
It should be a GIF. Like, it should be a GIF of you doing that motion.
Live while casting right now.
I'll pass, thank you. I'm trying to focus on this very important North American game that's going to determine which of these teams goes to DreamHack Valencia.
But there are ups and downs here, right? I mean, that's what we're looking. Basically, why we see a lull in the action is the players and their compositions are a little bit later on. So we really have to see these players kind of, I always say like bake in the oven, bake in the kiln, right? There's going to be this mix of like 5 to 7 minutes where it slows down.
Yeah, that's true. But it's still a raw, not an, like, you threw me off, man. I'm just completely, I'm lost now.
You're gone?
Yeah.
It's all gone Pete Tong.
Sure has. I can agree with that.
Oh well. Fine, okay, trying to deal with Benji here on the right-hand side. Slowly getting back to track are the commentators, and slowly getting back to track are the players as well. We'll do the recap again. 18 minutes on the clock, still just 5 kills. Space Station owning 3 of them, all tied in every other relevant category. There's going to be the blink forward from Verizial, a very aggressive play out of the jungler. Kind of did not expect that whatsoever. But enough space has been created for eUnited to start the Gold Fury. I don't expect them to hang on to this one, Ryan.
I don't know. Chaos can secure this pretty soon with his final judgment, but didn't start to charge it, and so now can't find it. There's a Blink Cataclysm, finds 3 by Polar Bear Mike, but immediately answered back. Fine, okay, with a huge ultimate into the snipe from Andy.
And the wall out of Thor is going to be fantastic to separate the team in 2 different spots. The ult will miss, and now Homie Effie is the target for the jungler and the mid lane, but Benji on the other side gets taken down by Vedium.
But Chaos's ultimate just wasn't able to make an impact in that one. Now it's Space Station's turn to try and get this Gold Fury jig still up in that coerced form. Finds 5 members with it. United trying to secure this away. It goes down.
Gold Fury! They steal it!
Chaos!
They take it away without any ultimates. eUnited! The Gold Fury is black and white and red all over.
Okay, so if you're pulling that Gold Fury like that, if you're Space Station, and you want to keep everyone else out, fine. The person who's tanking that needs to drop it, transfer it backwards so that Chaos cannot find that Hieroglyphic Assault over the wall. I mean, that was so close to where eUnited was. There's no reason to pull the Gold Fury into their range to try and steal it, or just pull it back and take it yourself without pulling it towards them, not going for the kills of the zone. Just really sloppy out of Space Station. It ends up costing them.
Not the cleanest fight out of Space Station whatsoever. They do control a little bit of the lead here, about 2,000, more like 1,500 to be honest with you. And that's just because they get the Portal Demon afterwards. eUnited totally fine with what's going on here. As I said before, their team a little bit later. Panda Cat, Chaos, both these characters are going to be hard carries come the late game. Jigs is going to help out Vedium, but Andy just not going to be able to deal the same amount of damage that Chaos will.
And Panicat is going pure late game, man. Mid Guardian male 3rd item. Again, he loves this, and it keeps him safe against Omi FA. How do you kill a Scotty that can do a decent amount of damage, but also can be pretty tanky? You really need to rely on Andenster to snipe Panda Cat away and just cut through what little magical protection he has just by leveling up.
It's interesting. We've seen this build a couple of times, and it always seems to make sense in the situation that he builds it in. But Polar Bear Mike has told us that he just builds this no matter what. So last time we saw this third item Midgardian Male come out on the Hunter. On the Hunter. I want to say that twice. We had him next to a Fafnir, so the lack of attack speed was kind of made up. As Andy runs away but can't make it happen, uses the ultimate for the CC immunity, and then actually will secure his own life. More help from Homie FA again with a hot wall.
Great reaction there from Annenster, but as you mentioned, Homie FA, the real difference maker there. Even though he's CC immune, Annenster still gets controlled in the same spot for a period of time, and that's all Polar Bear Mike was looking for. The knockup didn't hit afterwards, and that's what's important, but Homie FA walls off the two chasing members of eUnited and make sure that Andy gets out okay.
So yeah, just wrapping up this Hunter conversation about Panda Cat's weird build. Last time we saw it with a Fafnir, and we went, oh yeah, he doesn't need the attack speed. He's got Coerce. This time around, he doesn't really. But here on the Scotty, the pick of Scotty, very unsafe, right? If you're getting chased down, you're just kind of going to die. Well, the Midgardian Male is going to slow down your chaser, so you might not have that escape, but your opponent won't be as quick as you. So I think that's at least the thought process with the Scotty selection.
And Scotty, one of, if not the most ability-based hunters in the game right now. Neath, obviously, near the top as always, but really relying on that. Even Uller, like, he's got a power steroid on one of his abilities that makes his auto attacks hit harder and his abilities, but in the later stages, Uller can swing with those auto attacks, whereas Scotty really still relies on those abilities come late game. So just not having attack speed isn't great, but it isn't that bad either. As long as you've got penetration and power, that's all you really need coming out of that Hunter role.
Titan's Bane, Transcendence. Penetration and power.
They've got them both. Now it's probably going to be a Brawlers, could be even a Jotuns. I mean, who knows? Crusher, obviously a pretty good selection here.
Crusher is the truth. You get 15 attack speed plus subtraction on your cooldowns for every time you find the basic attack after the ability. I think that's one of the most underlooked items here. You can see it purchased by Verizial, but even in the Hunter world, I think it's one of the most under-selected items. Chaos gets chunked down to about 40%, even lower by a nice 1-4 combo out of the mid-mage Andy, but honestly, not a big deal.
I mean, it's not a big deal for Andy either, though, because that ultimate is on such a short cooldown. He's got the 10% CDR coming out of Sands of Time. He's not going to be missing that Searing Pain too much. Chaos, you could just already took a lot of damage from it. Good damage check from Annenster, but it also helps out Chaos a little bit. He knows exactly how much it's going to do to him now, and so he can use those relics accordingly, depending on how hard he gets jumped on.
Yeah, he wants to. You have to be really concerned about what's going to concern you as a mid-mage. You're very paper thin, you know, but at the same time, you don't want to try to use your relics on things that aren't a threat to begin with.
Exactly. You have to save those for the big moments, because there's going to be big moments where you need to escape, especially with compositions that include Bologna, Fafnir, Thor. There's going to be times where you're getting all in and you need those relics. So Chaos needs to be able to stay safe, and that's been the big difference between Game 1 and Game 2 thus far, is that Game 1, Chaos hit a big ultimate early on. It gave eUnited some control. In Game 2, that ultimate has not been quite as impactful, but it only takes one, man. You only need to make one big play in order to win a game. Everything before that is kind of inconsequential at some point.
Yeah, and you know, that's kind of what we see a lot of out of the mages, especially with how late the games have been going. Not even talking about mages, but just teams in general. Once you reach that half-hour and beyond mark, it comes to the point where a single team fight wins the game, and everybody is about even at that point in time. So really, it's just about kind of treading water until you're there, and then unleash the cannon.
And both teams have some good late game prowess. I mean, Fafnir excellent in the late game, though Geb is as well on the side of eUnited. Karadino's great in the late game. Scotty's pretty good as well. I'm really looking at how big these ultimates are coming out of the mid-majors.
Gold Fury half HP already by the guys on Space Station. Keep in mind, Andy does have his ultimate available, as well does Chaos, setting up his window there in the wall. But the Gold Fury will be leashed. Everybody well aware that Chaos has the capability to snatch this one away. Verizial will be chased out left side.
No anti-heal quite yet, except for Benji, and he's all the way in that solo lane, so can't always make an impact with that Pestilence. Homie FA gets poked out, but immediately healed back up by Annenster. Verizial gets poked out, he heals himself up. with that Camazot's passive. Now it's a full 5-on-5 grouping. It's the first time we've really seen an initial engagement start off 5v5.
Yeah, Polar Bear Mike still playing it safe. He understands exactly what happens to Blink Gebs if they get collapsed on, so it's not his thought process just yet. But I love this situation. A lot of times we see these teams waffle and kind of, what do we do here? eUnited send themselves to the mid lane looking at that tier 1 tower that's so low just to shift Space Station out a little bit. Now they come back into the jungle trying to contest with Jigs and Vedium.
Vedium is going to get healed up, as is Jig, so no one really taking any damage. Chaos jukes out that wall, but immediately as a purification beams, FineOK jumps on top.
Chaos is the target. He's the one that can snatch, so that's why we see Space Station jumping all the way to the back line. Vedium takes down one. Polar Bear Mike exits stage left. That's going to be an issue for the rest of eUnited. Andy's here, ultimate still in tow. Wants to find somebody with it, or more importantly, save it for the objective secure. That's what he'll do. Space Station slinks back after securing the mid-mage.
Perfect idea there. Chaos just a little bit too isolated from the rest of his team. FineOK gets the purification beads, and immediately Homie FA looks for him with the ultimate, catches him. The Aegis bought Chaos a moment, but still not enough to save his life. It was a full commit onto the mid-mage, and that's exactly what you have to do against a scary mid to late game character like Thoth. Perfect.
That was textbook play by Space Station. That was... if there was a how to play around a Gold Fury situation, you want to attack the mage or whoever has the objective secure ability. In this case, it's Chaos. You attack him and also make sure that his Guardian Angel is taken care of. Polar Bear Mike is chased out on the left side so that he can't shield and help out his mage, and Chaos is just dead to rights on the right side. So by separating Chaos and his Guardian Angel, you take out the problem that's going to threaten your objective, and you take out the problem that's going to stop your onslaught, both of which were perfectly executed by Space Station.
And how do you peel a Thor ult? How do you peel FineOK starting off the initiation with an Eagles rally? Very difficult for anyone from eUnited to stop any of that engagement. So good recognition by Space Station. Now going for the Fire Giant.
This is a gutsy call here. Space Station do have the lead, 3,000 they just bought, but that 3,000 gold is not that much. You see a couple of core items, so you know what? Right now, that 3,000 gold is a big deal for Space Station. At the same time, I don't know if they have all this lead to really look for the Fire Giant 5-on-5.
Wouldn't be surprised if we see Space Station back up and finish some of these core items, though. Still waiting on that rod up to Hootie. Scotty's Ice making a big impact there. Knockup gonna miss onto Benji coming out of the Fire Giant, but good poke onto the solo.
United are the ones pushing up now. There's going to be the jump in from FineOK. Again, Chaos is the target. Coming together with the mid-mage. Taking down Chaos is FineOK. Backside, Panda Cat's going to suffer the same fate. Homie FA, the strong one this time around. And Benji chasing down Jigs. At least the decoy will. Benji will exit down south. And up north, it's Polar Bear Mike all by himself.
Trying to get away from two more members. eUnited again lose their damage dealers early. Chaos still didn't have his relics up and then dashes forward right in Space Station's face. And they all look at each other like, wait, did that really happen? Let's just kill this guy. And they do exactly that. Now it's Benji trying to steal away this Fire Giant. Basically the only hope for eUnited to steal this one away. But this time Space Station realized, just force him out all the way away from the objective and then secure it. All 5 members with the buff.
5,000 gold lead, 5 kill lead as well for Space Station as we approach a half hour in our game number 2. One more time, this is the conclusion to the summer split. It's all about heading out to the summer finals. There's going to be a DreamHack Valencia out in Spain. Now, eUnited did win game number 1, and right now, they're kind of hoping that LG lose later. That's how they secure their trip. If eUnited does wind up coming back here, then they're good. They're already confirmed. Space Station doing their best to try and stop that one, keeping this one to a split down the middle and making Space Station sort of pray to the SMITE gods that LG kind of have a bad day.
There's plenty riding still on these sets. I mean, you're right. One team is getting qualified after this game. Whoever wins this game is automatically in.
Yeah.
Then it's a matter of the second team that's lost needs to wait and see what LG does later on today.
Polar Bear Michael. He'll be okay for the moment. Rough stuff. United just not able to keep up with Space Station here in a couple of fights. It really just has to do with, and this time around, it's Chaos dying, but not necessarily Chaos's fault all the time. I think that dash was a little bit suspect, but that first death by the Gold Fury kind of just spectacular target acquisition by Space Station.
I agree, but now you've got to make an adjustment if you're eUnited. How do we protect Chaos? How do you protect Verizio as he gets sniped out by Annenster right on the tip of the Searing Pain? 1,100 damage directly onto this jungler.
That's the combo we're seeing time and time again. Final K getting the stun, rally here, and then Andy says, no, 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 no. Rally there, in your fountain, because I hit you with the ultimate out of my mouth.
Perfect shot out of Andy. Now the left side, Phoenix falls to about half HP. Chaos alive this time, and so can put that damage out. Panda Cat doing his best to box with Final K as well. Blink Cataclysm for Polar Bear Mike, but the Phoenix is already dead.
And there's no follow-up from eUnited. Honestly, I don't think I wanted follow-up from eUnited because they would have gotten wiped. But the 3-man Cataclysm, just a little bit too late. Polar Bear Mike kind of showing up there. Kind of wish he almost saves that for this Phoenix attempt.
I mean, I don't know if Space Station's going to go for this Phoenix necessarily. I mean, Verizio's going to be up in less than 10 seconds, and with him coming back with that blink and the ultimate, might be a little bit too greedy. No one else does, though, so Space Station's going to back up.
Jigs walked right towards the Phoenix and said, guys, let's go. And Vedium just turned around.
Yeah, no, I'm good, dude. We already got one. We got that 1,500 gold in mid as well. Final K going to clean up another 500 on this right-hand side.
What a guy.
31 minutes in, so no, not really worried about that. It's another Gold Fury goes down in Space Station's favor.
Watching Final K this split has been fantastic, and I want, if you guys have not been following this entire season, I mean, the way that Final K wound up on this team is also kind of just a great story. So Benji used to be on this team. Yeah, the Benji across the way on eUnited. And then kind of swapped teams at one of the worst possible times. Actually got Space Station Gaming kind of messed up for the week, and that wasn't a very happy moment for Space Station Gaming. They didn't really have many options, and so they kind of grabbed this Challenger Cup player that Final K kind of underknown in the scene, I would say.
I mean, he was a jungler on a top-tier Challenger Cup team, but he was a jungler on a top-tier Challenger Cup team. He just used to play solo, got a tryout, and really impressed, and for good reason. I mean, this guy has been on fire ever since he came into the league.
And he's one of these players as well. You know, I always like to bring up the stuff outside of the lines as well. Just his attention to, he likes to stream, he likes to make the moves on YouTube and stuff, and I think that type of interaction is also very important. It keeps you engaged with the game, and we've seen so many pros just kind of, you know, disapparate, for lack of a better term, and by staying engaged with the game both competitively and otherwise, I think that helps him out here on the big stage.
Only one tower remaining for eUnited to defend, and it's this one on the right-hand side. Fire Giant going to respawn in about 40 seconds, so Space Station just kind of posturing around this side. Don't have anything to do right now. They already have ward vision control on the Fire Giant, but there goes Blink Cataclysm from Polar Bear Mike.
As soon as the Fire Giant's down, Blink Cataclysm comes forward. There goes the back line, and Verizio's the first one getting the kill on this time. Vedium. Jump forward is going to be Final K looking for Panda Cat. Aegis is activated. He's good for the moment, but Andy is the mage that everybody's got eyes on.
Benji trying to chase him down, goes up into the somersault cloud, but a good wall from HOMIEFE prevents that chase from going on. Meanwhile, Final K is still fairly healthy in the middle of 4. Finally, United start poking him down and doing the damage.
This is exactly what Jigs wanted. He goes, okay, this is how you protect your mid-mage. You're going to jump on Andy? This is how you do it. The whole team, and that's what's important about Space Station here, the whole team realized that the only way they win this fight is by keeping Andy alive, and that's what they do. They all collapse on their own mage.
And Spirit's Robe saved Annenster's life there. The final judgment that came through right as Annenster got CC'd, that extra damage mitigation was big, and the extra protection as well. Yeah. I was wondering why Chaos's ultimate did so little to Annenster. That 6th protection item works so well in the mid lane. You've already got enough damage. He's already doing 1,100 whenever he snipes Verizio. May as well get a little bit of extra survivability and cooldown reduction. Chaos desperately needs to finish off this rod of Tahuti, but I don't think anyone from United's going to be here in time. Another Fire Giant's going to go Space Station's way.
This was a Fire Giant that probably could have been contested, but Space Station wins that last team fight in just the right way. United probably shouldn't have backed there, but they were a couple of players were low.
I agree. I mean, maybe someone gets to stick around. Benji had
that's
teleport.
A tough decision.
It is tough, and I think that's just, there haven't been a lot of healing compositions as of late, and you kind of forget that, yeah, they're all low. They'll back here, but
Nah.
They've got raw heal, and they're all full health, and then they get Fire Giant when we're all healing up in our fountain.
It's a very defensive build coming up from Ra, you know, kind of circling back to what you were talking about. Not just that pure Spirit Robe, but even you see the helmet come out, and even that E-Staff is a little bit more defensive with a lot of HP on it, kind of the magical Chin Sai here, the offense capability of it, but a lot of HP on that one. The helmet bringing some physical protection as well. So Andy on this Ra, very not very tanky, but just
hybrid.
Resistant.
Yeah, it's a hybrid sort of build. He's got enough to survive and also enough to kill you, which works out well. And because he's not trying to fully one-shot someone with the one ult combination, right? He's looking to have Homie FA wall them off and double tap them as he 1-4s them, and that's going to be enough damage. It's about combining his damage with his teammates and not just trying to do it all on his own.
So all for one, all for one, all one for all.
No.
36 on the clock. Homie FA wants a glass of milk. It's been a while since we've seen the Thor dunk down on the Scotty as we've transitioned more into a team fight situation. Jake's jumping forward, surprisingly. Wants to open the window for his team to look towards this left Phoenix.
He got the Magi's blessing off of Polar Bear Mike with that disarm from the underhand tactics. So now that means another 60 seconds until PBM will have that CC immune item ready to go.
There's Chaos lining up the ultimate. Gonna get stunned down on the backside. Jake's threading the needle with the hammer. Well done. Two players gonna be jumped on by Polar Bear Mike, and that's going to be the relics for Andy. Up in the sky goes Thor.
Chaos has to retreat. Final K underneath that Phoenix comes down onto Polar Bear Mike, but not enough damage. Immediately escapes. All in the name of getting that Phoenix down once more for Space Station.
Thor just has to go up and cause the retreat. That alone gets the left-hand Phoenix. Landing down, icing on the cake. Here comes the dash forward from Polar Bear Mike, looking for the knockup onto Vedium. Final K's in a little bit of trouble, but it's Homie FA bringing it home. Vedium gets the kill onto PB Mike.
Now Chaos and the rest of eUnited have their hopes on the line. They need to find the defense on this Titan in order to keep their DreamHack hopes in terms of guaranteeing themselves alive. Right side Phoenix is the focus for Space Station. They're the ones also trying to guarantee themselves. Panicat gets jumped on and sniped by Andy again. Panicat gets cleaned up by Jigs.
Vedium very low. He'll actually fall here to the hand of Chaos, but Chaos goes all the way deep to find that kill. And Homie FA, give the man a cookie. Absolutely earned it here. Benji falls down one more time. 5, 1, and 6 for the jungle Thor. Homie FA bringing it here, and you're right, Ryan. That's absolutely it. Space Station Gaming get the split.
They're going to Spain.
Absolutely. eUnited, they have to wait.